Hello everybody, my name is Jenny and welcome to Reality TV Breakdown, where today we are going to be reviewing Vanderpump Rules, episode 8 called Peaks and Valleys. Sometimes their titles confuse me. All right, let's go. All right. My very first line in my notes is Katie and Lala are at lunch with, I drew two eyes with the eyes rolling. This whole season, some people going to lunch, some people going to dinner, some people going to coffee, some people going to lunch, some people going to dinner, some people going for coffee. It's just not good. Sorry. Nothing like promoting my channel and trying to get y'all to come back and watch some more, right? It's just not good. I don't know. It's just not a good season. So ridiculously boring. But let's do it. This one had I think one or two peaks in it. That's what peaks and valleys is. This episode finally getting a few peaks in it because it's been mostly a big valley. All right, and then of course it ends on a high note, so let's get started. So Katie and Lala are having their lunch, and Katie and Lala are discussing the argument they had the night before when they were at Allie's house for that reading. And Lala points out that this is at least the third time that Katie has come for her. And she doesn't really understand it, and she wants to really work through it. And then she goes, you were my ride or die. She was never her ride or die. I don't remember Katie and Lala being ride or dies. Katie and Stassi were ride or dies, but Stacy got kicked off the show. So Katie's sort of been floundering, looking for. Maybe she hung out more with Lala because she didn't have anybody else. She didn't like Ariana, and she didn't like Sheena. So Lala is the only one that was really left, besides Raquel, who was kind of personalityless and seemed brainless. I don't know if she is, but she sure seemed that way. I love, though, not in the conversation they had, but in the talking head, which really seems to be the best part of these episodes. All the filming is just like wah, wah, wah. But the talking heads, sometimes they share more intimate thoughts, and they're much better at doing reflection than they are just filming. In the talking head, Lala points out that she is trying to grow and heal, and Katie isn't there yet. We can all agree Katie is not there yet. She is not trying to rise above, be softer, all the things that Lala has been saying she's been working on doing. And I don't know if it was this talking head or another one, or maybe even the previous show, but at one point, Lala points out, I don't want to live my life this way. I don't want to live my life with this angst and this anger and this. Yeah, it's got to be miserable. And according to Lala, it was. So she's trying to turn the page. She's trying to be a better person. She's trying to be happier and live a good life.
Now I'm trying to get soft and heal from trauma because I don't want to end up a miserable, bitter bitch. And she's happy on her warpath.
Katie isn't there yet. Katie did admit during this conversation that it is her tone and her delivery that is the problem. Agreed. And the fact she keeps harping on the same things and bringing them back up again and again. And the fact that if you like someone she doesn't like, then she's now not going to like you. I mean, just off the top of my head. And the fact she never smiles. She has no joy, no joy, no joy. We cut to Sandoval, who is having a pool party during the day. I don't want to say there's a bunch of randoms because I don't know what kind of relationships these people have outside of the show. But they definitely were mostly people you've never seen before. And then, of course, we had the usual, his band manager, the Chan guy who makes jewelry for him. I hope he didn't make that necklace. There's no way he made that necklace. Tom had to make that necklace himself at some kid store when he took a nephew or something. or niece at some point for an arts or crafts night. He probably put that together. There's no way that was what is his name? Something Chan. Jackie Chan is the only name that comes to my head. Anyway, he was there. And then, of course, Billy was there as well. Billy trying to get Sandoval to talk about the girls that he met the night before when he was at Sir with the dinner with James and Allie. Apparently that evening, he met some girls and invited them to come to the pool party. And he must have told Billy that he's interested in them because Billy was excited about the notion that they might come, and he just kind of dismissed it. Well, why did he dismiss it? Because prior to this scene, we have a quick scene of Schwartz, who was there for a short time at the beginning. Looks like, I don't think James ever came. So Schwartz was there at the beginning. He wasn't in a swimsuit. He didn't do swimming or anything, but he appeared. And at one point, Sandoval was in the pool and Schwartz bent over to him and just said, hey, dude, like, I know you're back out on the market, but like bringing new girls here to the scene of the crime, to your home, still with Ariana, and the place that you hooked up initially with Raquel, like it's just not a good look.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we talked about at dinner last night when you said you have a potential romantic interest in here. Or just the idea of me being in here after everything that happened, being implicated as like some sort of like, I don't know, wingman or
what was all?
No, you.
And Sandoval didn't get upset, shockingly. I guess he doesn't get upset at Schwartz ever.
I'm so proud that Tom is putting himself out there, but like maybe don't do it under the same roof of the girl that you cheated on.
It just feels weird for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll out.
All right.
Everybody should filter everything through Schwartz and let him tell Tom Sandoval what it is, because he doesn't ever seem to really get upset with Schwartz. He just kind of nodded and said, okay. Now cut back to where I was talking about before, where he and Billy are talking to each other in the pool or the hot tub or something like that. And Billy's like, hey, what about those girls? You know, Billy's just always trying to get on TV. I don't know why I don't like her. I just don't like her. Anyone that seems like they're there just to get on TV bugs me. Which is unfair because now everybody's going to be trying to get on TV. Like, I didn't like Allie for a very long time because I thought that was her motive. But I'm getting over it because, boy, I mean, it seems like a bit of a sacrifice to just get on TV, to have to be in a relationship with James all the time. I mean, nice enough guy. He makes for good TV and he's very funny. But objectively, not a good looking guy at all. He's the classic nerd looking guy. He's only good looking now because he's a DJ to people. Anywho, I don't know where that came from. Shooting daggers right from the beginning. Trying to spice up this season. So then the two girls that Sandoval had met the night before, who he invited to the party, arrive. And they come in and he's talking to them in the pool. They get into the pool and they're talking. The most awkward conversation ever.
I've never been married, by the way. I'll probably be married by next year. Knowing me. I'm kidding. Have you guys been to Burning Man? But this would have been a great year for me to go. Single, like...
I don't know if these girls truly just had no idea who he was, because of course they think everybody in the world knows, because on national media, this stuff was broadcast, but I can guarantee you that 90% of my family, extended, younger, older, my son who's in his 20s, never heard of anybody from Vanderpump Rules, and they don't watch reality TV, news kind of stuff. My son watches the news, not entertainment news.
I do have a roommate, though. I told you guys about my roommate, right?
Who's your roommate?
It's just my ex-girlfriend. Yeah. Nothing serious, like just a 10-year relationship.
There is a chance that these girls didn't know who he was, so they kind of seem surprised and trying to gather information as he's sharing a little bit about his life with them. Or they did know about him in advance, but they're just not into it. And they just thought, oh, let's get on TV and go to this party, but we're not going to mess around with Sandoval at all.
Just the act of, like, talking to people, it's a muscle, and it's something I haven't used in a while.
So anyway, I have a couple clips of this conversation that I think Tom Sandoval thought went well, and I think the girls thought didn't go so well.
I keep her locked in the room, and I crush potato chips and put them under the door for her to eat. I'm just kidding.
Maybe I'm not a very funny person.
I feel like I can get back into this pretty quickly.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
We cut now to the next day, and Anne, the assistant to Tom Sandoval, is cleaning up a disaster of a party that was left over from the night before.
I'm on it.
Okay, no, that's great.
Okay.
One of Anne's duties as my assistant is to do some housekeeping. I know whatever I can't get to, Anne will clean up. So, I'm not leaving a mess ever.
I don't even understand what kind of pigs go to a party and just leave their drinks around and leave half-eaten bowls of stuff around. Like, what kind of people are these? It's an entire community of narcissists there, isn't it? Where you just show up to a party, you eat, you drink, you leave your stuff around wherever and expect somebody else to pick it up or clean up after you. Like, I've never had a party where it was a disaster afterwards. The only thing that's left is like the food that was out and then dishes that have to be washed. Other than that, people clean. If they have leftover food on their plate, they throw it in the trash and then put the plate where the rest of the dirty dishes are. Like, common courtesy, basic level common courtesy. It's shocking to me what a pig pen his downstairs look like. And here's poor Anne, his assistant. I don't know what he pays her, not enough, but I don't know what he pays her. She has to at least be getting what a cleaning service would be getting per hour because she's his maid. So she's working hard to clean everything up because Ariana is having Sheena over, and so she cleans up that whole area first, and she's got the kitchen is just a disaster. It's ridiculous. And then Tom Sandoval says to her, "Is it cleaned up downstairs?" As he's working out. Tom, you can work side by side. Just because you have an assistant doesn't mean that you do no work in your life. I just really don't like the man. He really thinks he's all that. All right. In my notes, I have written, it's a gross, messy disaster and disgusting house. And yet, Tom Sandoval thinks not so bad.
I'm not leaving a mess ever.
So Sheena comes over to the house. And then she sits down with Ariana. They start talking, and Ariana said, "Listen, I have been hearing from people that you're mad at me, and I want to talk through this. You never told me you're mad at me. What's going on?" And then Sheena's upset because she said, "I don't like it when people talk for me, especially Lisa Vanderpump." And then Ariana said, "Yes, Lisa's one that told me that you're mad." And Sheena's like, "I can speak up for myself." And then Ariana's like, "Well, then speak up for yourself. Why are you mad at me?" So they're working through it anyway. Okay, that made me happy that they're talking it out. Sheena finally does get to express how hurt she was that she found out. Now, maybe I'm not paying that close attention because this is a horrible season, but did not just last episode, or was it the one before, but I think it was the last episode, Sheena was talking to Lisa Vanderpump and said she was upset that she found out about Dancing with the Stars from Ariana's boyfriend when she went to pick up Ariana's boyfriend at the airport for Ariana one day. And he mentioned something about a photo shoot that he was going to go to with her, that he's here for her Dancing with the Stars. Am I crazy, or did that just happen? Because in this episode, Sheena says to Ariana, "I was upset that I had to find out about it on the news, that you didn't call and tell me." Two different stories. And it doesn't matter which one is true. Both of them, the point is Ariana didn't tell her first. But why are we telling two completely different stories? I don't know. It's confusing to keep up with. It's confusing to follow the lies, especially stupid lies that make no sense. There's no need to lie about. I don't understand these people. Am I old? I should move this review to my senior perspective channel so I can justify my feelings and opinions on these people. So, okay, this is your mother speaking for all of you young ones who are watching this. This is the perspective of somebody who's older and wiser, looking down, telling you to get it together. 1, clean up after yourself. Just basic common courtesy. Shouldn't have to be said, but I'm saying it. Number 2, don't lie. There's no need for it. You tell one lie, then you have to remember it all the time. And that's a lot of anxiety. And in order to get out of it, sometimes you have to tell another lie. So now you have to remember both those lies. That's too stressful. If you always just tell the truth, life is so much easier. You never have to worry about what you're going to say because you have no lies to cover up for. Okay, let's move on. Words of wisdom from Mama Jenny. You're welcome. I will say Ariana, in the end, apologized, and I think it worked out fine between the two of them. Good convo. We see Tom Schwartz going for a walk with Joe. He calls Joe Joseph. Why do you think that is? Her name can't possibly be Joseph. I think that's a joke because sometimes maybe she has manly energy. I mean, Katie has manly energy according to her, too. Oh, goodness. Maybe that's what Schwartz is attracted to, manly energy. I don't know. I don't get the Joseph thing. I'd like an explanation. I wrote here their whole conversation is just idle chit-chat, but maybe they're perfect for each other. I let my opinions go on a shelf and just see how this works out. She's a very carefree girl, and I think that because Katie was so stringent and always on top of him, that it's good for him to have somebody who's more like, whoo-hoo, just go with the flow. But she can't be the only carefree girl in all of LA. I don't understand how this friend group, they all have to sleep with each other, cheat on each other with people in the group. I mean, they've all slept with multiple people in the group. It's just kind of insane. It's not how normal life works. They're kind of a sick group of friends, really. And not a very good representation of that generation. So I say to Tom Schwartz, branch out, son. There is another fun, carefree girl out there who everybody in the group isn't going to hate. Now we cut to an evening activity where a whole bunch of people are getting together. I don't know who planned it at all, but everyone was going to get together, and Tom Sandoval was there. So of course he did not expect Ariana to come because it was known that he was going to be there. So I don't know if he initiated this get together with everybody or not. But Katie walks in with Ariana because she talked Ariana into coming, and Ariana did say, listen, I am not going to allow Tom Sandoval to keep me from hanging out with my friends. So I'm going. So good for you, Ariana. That's true. She's really bending a little bit. I wasn't liking her a lot at all at the beginning of the season because she was way too rigid about this whole thing. But now, not only does she go to an event where her friends are hanging out with Tom Sandoval, but she's in Tom Sandoval's presence as well, which is more than when she lives with them. They don't even see each other. They text the assistant to know who's in their room so the other one can come down so they never see each other, which is a whole nother level of crazy. But she showed up, and Tom Sandoval's like, I didn't expect her to be here. And he seemed a little miffed, quite frankly. I think he was bothered. I think he thought this was going to be a night with all of our friends where I'm going to get in even better with all my friends. But it's not going to happen now because she's here. And she's going to put a damper on my reconnecting with my friends because everyone is going to rather hang out with her than me. Which was true. He pretty much sat by himself at the bar, and Schwartz came over and talked to him, and that's it. Now, there may have been more interactions that happened that we didn't see. That in the edit, that's what we saw. A bunch of the girls go sit outside, and Allie shares that Joe had texted her and told her she wanted a reading and asked her if they can, go get a drink, and then she could get a reading. So the girls are like, what did you say? And she said, I said okay. And they're like, all right, good luck. Prepare yourself. Be warned. And then Katie points out that Joe sent her a text the day that her divorce was announced with Schwartz. And this was the text, which is kind of odd anyway, but I guess it very much matches Joe that we see on the show. Apparently she's like that all the time because why would you start off a text like that? To somebody who is grieving and going through a divorce anyway. Another little glimpse into who Joe really is. So she says she sent that text and just a couple months later moved in with Schwartz. So yeah, it seems like she can't really be trusted. It's like she swooped in when he was a wounded puppy. And she filled that void for him, but I don't know. I think she fills the, I want female companionship. I want to have somebody to sleep with. I want somebody who isn't going to judge me and make fun of me and tell me what I'm doing wrong and what I need to fix. I want somebody just carefree. She's all that. So she's just really childish. And yeah, she's quirky, but like, I mean, maybe it's an okay quirk. I don't know. What we see on the show, it comes across as childish and not just quirky. Okay, there you go.
It's just my opinion.
Sheena's at the bar talking to Schwartz, and then Sandoval comes up. And Schwartz was starting to tell Sheena about the pool party and how Tom Sandoval invited these girls and how he didn't think it was good. But then with Sandoval showing up, Schwartz is like, and the conversation just kind of dies. And finally, Sheena just said, we were talking about the pool party. And then it changed and evolved into Sheena and Tom Sandoval just talking to each other, and it starts getting more heated. And Sheena's trying to point out how he still hasn't gone to each person and apologized for the things that they need to hear an apology for. He just yells back, I am tired of being on the apology tour. This has been too long. Like, he just can't hear it. He's tired of hearing it because he won't do what people are telling him to do. So then it stays stagnant. And then they have to tell him again, and then he gets all upset. Like, why do people keep telling me? I've apologized. You know, he feels like, this is Tom Sandoval. I made this major F up. Major. Did this huge, enormous thing wrong. Almost can't get much bigger besides, like, physically hurting somebody. So he's made this major faux pas, sin, call it whatever you want. And then at the reunion, he told everybody, I'm sorry I hurt you all. And he thinks that one time, making that blanket apology to everybody, people are just going to move on. Say, oh, you said you're sorry. Okay. Let's go get drinks. It just doesn't work that way, Tom. It doesn't work that way. You have to be completely sincere. You have to meet each person where they are. You have to apologize for the specific thing that hurt them in this whole relationship. And then, and only then, will they maybe forgive you. But they'll never forget. So it's never going to go back to being the same. He's so used to being a screw up and doing things wrong and sleeping with girls and sleeping with each other's friends and just really doing a whole mess of things. And eventually people going, okay, let bygones be bygones. Cheers. Let's move on. That's not how it is in the normal world. We forgive. We don't forget. We move on a different direction. When somebody's toxic like that in your life, you don't keep them in your life. It's shocking to me that these people are still around, but then not, because the show's called Vanderpump Rules and they've always been on it. But had it not been for the show, I don't think any of these people would be his friends anymore. I really don't. So he gets very defensive. He says he's not going to grovel anymore to any of these people. He acts like a child. He pouts and he storms away and leaves the bar. Goodbye, Tom. We cut to Brock and Sheena's house. And they are trying to talk about their life, their schedule. Brock is trying to get some things scheduled for his work. He wants a set work life and time to go there. I can't remember what he's doing, but I heard it was pretty successful. He launched some sort of product that like got in like Targets or Walmarts or something. I don't remember what it was. I heard this recently. Anyway, he does have a job. You know, he's an independent contractor, if you will, but he has started something. I don't know what it is. I don't remember. But at any rate, because I heard that conversation before, I can relate that to this, where he's like, listen, I want to have a set schedule now. I can't have a set schedule because I don't know when you're going to be gone to do something and I need to watch our child. So can we please find a nanny who's just always here? And then that way we can come and go as we please, so that, or you come up with, Sheena, a set schedule for your life so that I now know when I can work around that and schedule other things. And Sheena's not really hearing it. She's not really, she's just being defensive. She doesn't really want the nanny. She also doesn't really want to structure her life in such a way that she has a set schedule that Brock can work around. So there was no real fight involved. They just kind of talked through it and moved on. We do know that Sheena doesn't like fighting on film. She was very upset that day in the thing. She's like, why are we doing this with cameras here? Out in public. Why would we do this? Like, this is what we do behind closed doors, not in front of people. The conversation turns to Sheena sharing about when she went over to Ariana's house and how that conversation with Ariana went. And, it was just her. I'm not going to go over it or repeat it, but I do want to note that at the very end, Brock pointed out that he doesn't think Ariana has really dealt with everything that's gone on because it's been such a whirlwind since it happened that instantly everybody wanted her on their show. They all wanted her on their talk shows. She was flying here, flying there, interviewing here, interviewing there, doing these promotions. Now, we want you to be part of this endorsement. And she was saying yes to absolutely everything because you never know when the money train's going to end, which is smart. So she's doing all of that. She got on Dancing with the Stars. It's just been one thing after another, and he thinks that when it comes to an end that it might be a shocking reality to her, and it may just hit her at that point. So Sheena said, I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. So Ariana's going to have game night with friends that next evening. Katie comes over early. She's helping to prepare the food and get things ready. And Tom Sandoval was coming down to make himself a smoothie. He was upstairs working out. So Tom's assistant texted Ariana, Tom is going to be coming down soon to make a smoothie, of which Ariana texts back, okay, I'll let you know when I'm in my room. Ariana says to Katie, I'm going upstairs to put my makeup on. Tom needs to come down. And she's like, oh, Tom's here? She's like, yeah, Tom's here. She's like, he's going to come down and make a smoothie, so I'm going to put my makeup on. Are you okay being down here? And Katie said, yeah, that's fine. I'll just stay down here. So we see Ariana walk upstairs, close her door. Tom opens his door, comes down the stairs. It's crazy. But this gives Tom an opportunity to talk to Katie. One of the things that Sheena said when she was pointing out everything he needed to do was apologize to Katie for his role in talking bad about Katie the whole time they were having troubles, Schwartz and Katie were having troubles in their marriage, that Sandoval kept encouraging Schwartz, not necessarily to leave, but he would constantly say, well, she's the worst. And I mean, they hated each other. Katie and Tom Sandoval hated each other. So it really didn't help. And as soon as the two of them went into business together, things just got worse because now Tom Schwartz is hanging out with Tom Sandoval all the time. And Sandoval is always planting these seeds of how can you deal with her? How can you live with her? She's the worst. Sheena, the night before, told Tom Sandoval, you need to apologize for your role in their divorce because you did play a part in it. Still their marriage, still their own decision. They made the choice. You can work through things if you choose to, but he did have a hand in it. Of course, the night before, he was very defensive about all of this. But apparently he heard, because when he was down there in the kitchen, he turned to Katie and said, Katie, I want to apologize for something, and said he apologized for his role in their divorce.
I know that you were going through a lot and probably didn't need any of that extra
But you're apologizing, that's great. But for me, apologies are just words. At the end of the day, Tom, you f***ed up big time.
Oh, yeah.
So he apologized, but then really quickly got to the point that he was kind of defensive again. It's just, he can't. You can tell it's an act when he's apologizing because he can't stay in it. He can't be in the place of contrition and stay contrite. He starts off there, and within 1 second of hearing somebody else's opinion on it, boom, he flips to, I'm the victim, and why do I have to apologize? And back to where we were before. So he goes there not quite as intensely, but flips back. And Katie had a really good point here.
It's fathomless, really, to carry on in an affair like that.
Fathomless?
Yeah.
Wow, like you can't even fathom that happening?
No, because you know what I did? I walked away from a 12-year marriage when I still loved the person. I still just because I wanted to be happy. I didn't start his friend
We're not the
behind his
same
back.
people.
Obviously.
Makes me happy to see Katie have words of wisdom. I like also how in Tom Sandoval's talking head, he just says, I'm trying to apologize here. Was it the talking head or was him actually talking to Katie saying that? But I just remember it striking me funny that Tom Sandoval said, I am trying to apologize here, which means even he recognizes he's not really apologizing. He's trying. He's trying his best. But his narcissistic personality is holding him back from truly from his heart giving a full apology. Later, Schwartz comes over and he's up in the bedroom with Sandoval. And when he walks in, Tom Sandoval is journaling. And Schwartz is like, oh, you journal. And Tom Sandoval says, yes, I journal every day. I've done it since Rachel went into rehab because I knew she was journaling every day. And I stopped drinking too because I knew she stopped drinking. So I figured this is something that's going to bond us and connect us together, that together we are making ourselves better by journaling every day and not drinking. Okay, true, but he's, again, not doing any of this to truly heal himself. He was doing it for Rachel because Rachel had to do it. So it's kind of like, look at me. You didn't have to sacrifice. I had to too. And you were in an environment where you didn't have a choice. I did have a choice and I still, I can just see how he is trying to pump himself up a little bit over this. However, I will say if he's still writing in his journal, probably a good thing because it looks like he's not getting back together with Raquel. Now maybe down the road we see the journaling falls off and the drinking comes back. But at this particular point, it looks like he's aware it's over with Raquel, but he hasn't heard it from her. So maybe that's why he's still not really drinking and still journaling, because he still has hope, because she hasn't told him it's over. He's just heard from Lisa Vanderpump that she's very upset with him. And he's assuming this means it's over, which it probably does. But I think as soon as he hears it from her and he knows it's officially over, we're going to see him no longer journaling and drinking again. Mark my words. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Back at game night, we have everybody playing Never Have I Ever. And there's just a couple things we learned from the Never Have I Ever game. We learned that the people who have cheated more than once on their partner were James and Sheena. We learned that the person who's been in a threesome with two guys are Brock and Sheena. But then it's explained they participated in an orgy. So they weren't really with the other people. They were just in the same room doing their own thing, according to Brock. Or at least he was doing his own thing. I don't know. In the talking head, Sheena admits, yes, we participated in an orgy with an A-list celebrity. And that's all she said. Well, it had to have been more than one A-list celebrity, because the question was who had two or more. So Brock had to be with two or more guys in the room. He kept saying, they were in the room, they weren't with me. Interesting. I didn't know about that side of Sheena. I don't like it. Mama Jenny, coming to judge. Let's move on. We see a bunch of people at Guys Night Out, and everybody is poking questions at Schwartz and asking him about Joe and where the relationship with Joe is. And he is very quick to say that last year, during the summer, they did have a whirlwind romance for the summer, but then it ended. And now they're in the friend area, and he really likes it, and he thinks it's good for him right now. He doesn't want to be in a relationship. And in very typical Schwartz fashion, says, I do want to be in a relationship, but I don't want to be in a relationship. So he said there's nothing going on between him and Joe. Well, let's just point out, there's nothing going on between him and Joe in the last 30 days, because they admitted the episode before that a month ago they hooked up. We cut to Allie and Joe out for their drinks, and Allie doing the reading for her, looking at her phone. I don't know how these readings work. I thought they were like cards that you put out and read. I didn't know that like you just Google it and then read it. Anyway, I don't know that it feels like much of a skill. Doesn't it seem like something you could just put into the computer and it would tell you? I mean, now that we have computers, do we need people to read our charts, or can we just read a chart?
Good point.
I don't know. I don't want my chart read. But what is interesting is that Allie is interpreting the chart, and she said that the relationship she has right now is very much something or other. And she goes, oh, that kind of matches where you are with Schwartz, that it's like very good friends, that you're in the friend zone and your relationship is a platonic one at this point. And going forward, that's good for you, or something along that line. I don't remember the exact words. Joe did not seem thrilled with the reading. And then, of course, as any good astrologer or psychic or whatever would do, is you read the expression on the person's face when they're not happy with what you're saying. You kind of tweak it to make them happy again. And that's what Allie did. Allie said, but many great relationships are formed on the basis of a good friendship first, so you don't know where it's going to go. i.e., I'll just tell you what you want to hear, and cha-ching, thank you. So Allie says to Joe, I know that a lot of the girls in the group don't really like you, but I want you to feel comfortable and, know that you're still welcome or something, which she's not, but I guess she is with Allie. And Joe points out that she has never said a negative word towards the girls, but they have a lot of hatred towards her, which is a very good point. She hasn't talked bad about any of them. They hate her. Now, Katie announced her divorce, and then 2 months later, she's with her ex-boyfriend, who Katie still loved, but he just wasn't what she needed in him. So that was hurtful to Katie. So I get that. I get why she's upset anyway. Why everybody else is upset with her, I don't know. I mean, she's been around a while. She was working with the production staff. She was like the hairstylist for Vanderpump Rules. So they all knew her. And I think that occasionally she would hang out with them at bars when there wasn't filming going on. So that's how everybody knows her. Also, she was like best friends with Kristen Dowdy. And Kristen's crazy. And this is her best friend. So crazy attracts crazy. Kristen doesn't sound as crazy anymore if you listen to her. Of course, she's settled down and she has a man and everything is good. She was crazy before. She was great television back in the day. I don't know if Kristen and Joe are friends anymore. Something tells me they're not, and I don't know why. And it could be because Kristen was always friends with Katie too. And maybe she has Katie's back in this whole divorce thing. That could be. I don't know. Let's just go on because now I'm just guessing. And then the best part of the show, at the very end, we see JAX walk in and go to guys' night, of which he points out, well, you guys are really moving up in the world. You have the whole back room, the whole room reserved just for you. I mean, that's not them. Obviously, it's production that did it. Could be a little jealousy on Jax's part. I don't know, because Jax was essentially kicked off of Vanderpump Rules many seasons ago, but now he's on something called The Valley or something like that, so he has his income coming back. Maybe he'll start being on this show again. I hope so. I was never fond of Jax, but boy, he's good television, and he is kind of funny. And I really do love his wife. Although, if we're keeping up with modern times, we know that, well, we just heard on last episode that Jax is sleeping around again. And in real time, we know that Brittany has gotten an apartment and moved out with her son. Which is sad. Because Jax can't keep it in his pants. Maybe I will watch The Valley and give it a chance. But I don't think I'm going to do reviews on it because I just don't have the time. Look how far behind I got on this one. And last one. I didn't realize I was a week behind. My apologies. Okay, let's finish up. So Jax shows up, which is great. Right away, he lays into Sandoval because the two of them ended their time together on TV butting heads. They were very, very close in the past, but they have always had a very contentious friendship. It was like love or hate. It was just very weird. I couldn't understand it. I thought it was a guy thing. I just let it go, but like here we are again. Schwartz invited him to come. Sandoval does not look happy, and I don't know that Sandoval knew that he was even going to be there.
You guys, you get the room to yourself? Is that big of a deal now?
I know Tom and JAX, they haven't really communicated in a long time. They're not really friends anymore even, but I also know that deep down they love each other. Maybe JAX can, give him some advice from one person who's, dabbled in infidelity to another.
But he does not seem happy. Everyone else is happy. They're giving him hugs and that. And Schwartz, in his talking head, said, I invited him because I know deep down inside he still loves Tom Sandoval. They just need to work through this. Well, he jumps right in on Sandoval at the beginning.
So how about you? What have you been up to? You look a lot better because I'm not going to lie. I saw a picture of you on social media a couple weeks ago and I'm like, holy this guy looks like he's 50 years old. And it seems like you look better and minus the white nail polish. We got to get rid of that.
It's all gray. It's all gray.
Oh, good old JAX is back. Here's some more.
I mean, I can't lie. I mean, obviously, I've heard what's going on and everything, and I
know you can't shut up about it.
It's just so bizarre, and that brings me back to the lack of empathy, the tone deafness, the selfishness. Like, are you mad?
I'll put a couple clips in here.
I don't need to give you answers.
You don't need to give me anything.
You've been relentlessly talking about me.
The whole world is talking about you. The whole entire world.
God, this is so bad. This is so bad.
Jack shares that he has a bar that's opening up, and Sandoval says if he needs any advice or has any questions, he could come to him. And of course, JAX is like, you're the last person I'd go to. JAX is just poking the bear. There's no need for him to say that. That was mean. But he just doesn't like Sandoval.
You know what?
You're mean 7 years ago.
I'm
like,
not exactly you.
Yeah, you are. You are. If not worse. At least when I did it, I owned my
He just comes after Sandoval hard, and it's a typical JAX television moment.
My life is the best it's ever been. I've grown up. I've worked my ass off to get to where I am right now, and I have a great wife, a great home. I got everything in the world that I could possibly ask for.
Good job.
And I'm happy. You are literally a disgrace.
He can serve up good TV. And that's where the episode ended. I will say it ended with probably the most encouraging scene of this entire season so far. What episode are we on? Episode 8, I think? Is it episode 8? Episode 8. We're all the way on episode 8. At the end of episode 8, we finally get a good scene. I hope JAX is on this a lot because he's just good TV. He really is. Because, he's a jerk. And he's a narcissist, too. Two narcissists together in the same room. Makes for good TV. Especially because that is who they are. They're not acting. There's a lot of acting going on in the show. Trying to act better than they are. Sometimes pretending to be mad at people when they're not. But, the only acting Sandoval does is to try to be good. Try to be nice. Try to be contrite. Try to apologize. Until he falls back into his regular skin again. JAX is the same way. I don't know. He can't act. He's just a jerk. But he's really funny. See, Sandoval's not funny. JAX is funny. So I think that's why he makes good TV. Okay, that's all I have for this week. Hopefully next week we get more JAX and maybe a little Brittany too. We'll see. Bye, everyone.